Frank, what do you think? Do you have any idea on dollar pairs, whether it's euro or it can be something else or even gold? Any dollar related ideas that you're looking at?
Yeah, not pair specific, but could I ask you all a question
Yeah.
regarding so this debt ceiling crisis, as they call it, how much weight do you guys think that actually carries? Because I remember this like 2 years ago or something, where we came to this debt ceiling where we're at our cap for the amount of credit that this company or this country could come to, and like apparently it was huge news and like it was causing like major swings in the market, but all they ended up doing was just raising the ceiling again. um, so I'm not really sure what all the talks and debates entail, but why would coming to our debt ceiling cause this, I guess, chaos? Or it's all over the news, but aren't they just gonna just like raise the ceiling one more time and just, move on, and then we'll run into this problem a couple of years down the line?
Ivan, you could go first.
Give me 2 milliseconds. I just need to find the price action of when the last time it happened. But so the thing here is politically, and if you saw how difficult it was to get everyone or enough people to agree to get it the current speaker, those I don't know if those are the ones, but that's kind of the same scenario. We have a small group that doesn't want to agree to this debt ceiling increase. So as we have seen is that is a that's it's in a landlock, or like that's a looked case. So nothing is going to happen other than dollars going to get stronger because we can't pay bills, because that's going to lose people losing jobs, because government people have to go home. They will then default on their payments, but nothing else is going to happen because the state is still going to the state is still going to be there because they can't go bankrupt, because they still have control over the military and the police. So nothing much is going to happen other than some short-term volatility in the dollar and the stock market. And then whenever they get a deal, which they eventually will do, it will go back to normal again.
So is it a matter of holding out as long as they
Yeah.
can until they just come to an agreement at some point?
Have you ever done last-minute schoolwork or reading for an exam the night before?
Yeah, many times. Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Okay.
Same concept.
Now it makes perfect sense. Thank you, Ivan.
Want to stay up to date with all the latest trading information? In the description below, you'll find the link to join our free Discord. The Discord gives you instant access to lots of helpful material like free trading courses, chart analysis, updates about what's happening in the A1 community, as well as discount codes for our other products and services. The best part, all of this and more is 100% free. So go down in the description below this video and check it out for yourself. If you're interested in upgrading to the full VIP Discord featuring our team of expert trader signals, you can use the live chat link in the description to get connected with one of our team members in seconds. So don't wait, go check out the free Discord today.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that, in our country's history, I was reading that it's been 78 times since inception that they have raised the debt ceiling. So to Ivan's point, looking historically, there is kind of a historical playbook. The dollar gets strong off this for a while, and Democrats and Republicans, they push it to the very end. They get dramatic. They, I don't know what else they're doing over there. They're just having a drama party where they walking out of, negotiations and things like that, just making things more interesting. Regardless, though, the playbook has always been, and I, it could go some other way, but most likely, I think things blow over. They come to some sort of agreement, and they yet again raise the debt ceiling, with hopefully some plans to make changes in the future. Because again, we're at this point, we're operating at a loss, consistently in this country, and will it put problems down the line? Of course it will, until you fix the problem. Otherwise, we're just going to be right back at this situation again. Not a political channel, and not really my area of expertise anyways, but I think from a market perspective, dollar up until they drag that thing out. They dramatize a little bit, but then after that, I think that the dollar story falls apart, especially with cooling inflation. If we see any continuation there, so yeah, I think that there is room for dollar weakness to show its head again as soon as that story kind of blows past us. So I'm not necessarily looking to short the dollar because, again, I think that it can run a little longer than I might expect. But signs of breakouts, signs of development in that area, I'll be looking to try and short retests, I think, on the dollar. So that's where I'm at with it. What do you think, Frank? I mean, I know, of course, 78 times is a lot of times. They've done this many times. Are you bullish dollar? You bearish dollar? Short term, are you bullish? What do you think?
I don't necessarily have a bias right now. Maybe short term bullish just because purely based on technicals. Like I like to see a lot of moves complete, and this is one of them. It's broken out of a strong trend line. It's about to approach another one. I think it's just got some room to go. It was so strong last year because of the inflation crisis and that we were expecting large amounts of rate hikes, and we didn't know exactly how high things would go. And now we're kind of at the tail end, and I know we've talked about this before, but we're at the end of rate hikes. And even if we do one more next month of, like, I don't know how much they would take it, maybe another 25 is what they said, then that's kind of it. I think that's the general expectation, because the Fed is talking about, like, we don't necessarily need to raise rates anymore, but we'll see, we might. And it just sounds like this is the last, this is the tail end of everything. So honestly, this short-term dollar bullishness, I don't think is because of rate hikes or whatever. I think we're kind of past that. We priced that in. But what we talked about earlier, the debt ceiling crisis always seems to cause a lot of uncertainty and just volatility on both sides, and the dollar's been rising as a result of that. But I don't really see any big fundamental reason other than that. In the future, we're probably going to look at similar rates, and then next year we're probably going to see some cuts according to the forecast. So dollar's it's hit its strong point, and I think now the market's trying to take over the S&P, I mean. So yeah.
Speaking of the dollar potentially rolling over, Ivan mentioned that euro dollar breakout. If that occurs, that could be a strong move to the upside if it was able to get above those technicals. I also like the gold trade. I know I had mentioned it previously. I traded it. I had one successful trade and one losing trade. I traded it up here, trailed out, bought it back in, took a loss here. And I haven't touched it since. The thing that would get me back interested, I think, in gold would be, the dollar sell-off. If it occurs, instead of euro dollar, personally, I would be looking at gold. Not that I think there's anything wrong with euro. It's just my preferred of the two. I would be very interested in, gold break and retests at some of these structural levels that we've seen a lot of headway for bulls, where sellers have just taken control. If we're able to get some of those key breakouts, I think gold has a lot of room to push to the upside. Part of the thing is also with the debt ceiling situation, right? If they just raise the debt yet again, the debt limit, the thing is, it's going to yet again call into question, how many dollars are they going to print? How much inflation is going to go on, and how long is this going to never end? And many investors, not just in the US, but globally, where, a lot of central banks are holding a lot of US dollars, they may want to swap that out for something like gold, where they can, not necessarily just be victim to a never ending debt ceiling rate. So I think that there's a bullish case somewhere in there for gold. It's just waiting for those technicals to break out for me to look for pullback opportunities. That's something I'll be looking out for going into this week.
I agree with you there. I do agree with you on that technical side, but the only thing keeping me hesitant is the smart money, is that they keep increasing their short positions, and this week was especially, you know, strong to the short side. They erased a lot of longs as well. So is it like a shift from smart money, or are they uncertain? Are they gonna come back in? It's kind of tough because it's majority long, but over the weeks they've been decreasing in long sizes.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. So we're looking at the gold commitment of traders specific data, and what we can see here is while they still have a very large long ratio of positions opened, to Frank's point here, you've got a big decrease in longs, so a big closing of long positions, and a sizable increase in short positions on the gold market. So this is partially where I think, wait for that technical breakout. Despite the COT data being a little bit delayed, if we see those big technical breakouts, there's a good shot that that's institutional money moving back in. Now, to your point there, Frank, it could not be this week. It could be 3 weeks from now. It could be a month from now, because this technical trend, who knows how long it goes down. That's part of the reason why when I look at this chart, I'm not assuming that it is going to break out. I'm just going to wait, because if it goes down, for another couple weeks and then breaks out, we might see COT continue to decline and then eventually start to increase again. So that's how I'm watching it personally.
I like the 1940s or 50s level. There's another long-term trend line on this pair since November. So a test down there, maybe it's long-term profit taking. Maybe they're just setting it up for another run as these institutions scale out at these levels. But I don't know. I do like that level though. I think it would be worth at least attempting, because there's a previous supply demand zone. It might be a double bottom again, but also like this long term trend line somewhere. I think 1940s is close enough, but once it hits that, I think it would be at least an attempt.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Ivan, what do you think? Gold, oil, commodities, what do you what's on the radar for you this week?
I'm just trying to find last time they had a debt crisis, and I think it was late 2008. And as far as I know, their last payment was 28th of December, and then they didn't pay the workers or the government employees around 11th of January 2019. And then that's when we saw a rise in dollars. This is the dollar index. So it seems like the market is pricing in, like, as long as they still keep paying their workers, everything is okay, which they're currently doing. So I don't see any reason for dollar to strengthen, other than this death crisis intensifies. And when you talk about economics, just very quickly there, you have to look at if it comes down to war, if it is rise, does it have economic impact? Economic impact comes down to when you don't pay workers. So I think that's going to be the kill switch, or that's going to be the kicker. But then also there's maybe also other things that it's moving the market in this particular time of the year. But still, I was asked to do Euro New Zealand, and that's going to be the quickest Euro New Zealand I've ever done in my entire life, I guess. It's currently bearish, and you can look for. And the only thing I can say is that if it comes back up to resistance, probably continue lower. But my interest in Euro New Zealand, Australian New Zealand, has depleted, and it can do whatever it wants to do. If it wants to steal gold from you, it can do that.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, that some of those charts have been tricky. It's been a lot of the Aussie and NZD pairs have been moving all over the place. We've got Aussie US dollar, which has been, under pressure here recently. Some correlation on this pair to the S&P 500. So catching a little bit of a bid here today. Let's double check on how those indices are doing since we left them. S&P, look at this, jumped up, jumped back down, came back. What's this NASDAQ doing here? Still holding just shy of the highs. For breakout traders, for perhaps day traders or short-term traders, this 13,900, 13,900 could be an interesting breakout zone if you're interested in that sort of thing. For me, I mentioned this earlier, a bigger pullback would be something that I'd have to get in order to hold on to some sort of swing trade. Ideally, when I'm looking to trade the indices, I'm trying to capture something that I can stay in for several days to even a week or two. Those are my ideal types of trades. So yeah, that's it's an interesting development watching these indices as they test the highs. I think that is going to be a big conversation in markets as they come right back up to those highs, despite the walkout and negotiations last week, which put pressure on the indices as well as the dollar. It'll be interesting to see how things go forward there. Frank, did you have the COT data pulled up? Did you want to point out something?
No, I was just looking at something. I am interested in Kiwi yen because of my yen short bias. But I was just looking at COT to see what they were doing, and nothing promising from smart money. I just like the fact that they're raising the rates, and it's likely going to happen another 50 basis points, I think, at least, before I get ahead of myself. I believe it was another 50. Oh no, it was 25.
25, okay.
But just going into Wednesday, I think that's kind of promising. Or Tuesday, I mean. Just looking at this move to complete maybe up to the 88s or something, 87.8.
Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want our broker recommendation, access to our free Discord, free EdgeFinder, or want to chat with us on Telegram. Remember, you can watch us live in the markets every morning starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we have lots more free trading tools and content available on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching.